Get a last check on business news next.
Newsradio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Walmart is going with a comprehensive brand refresh that it says will reflect its evolution as a people-led, tech-powered, omni-channel retailer. The brand that includes a modern custom font will officially launch on most platforms this month. Attorneys for Apple have been defending the company in a UK courtroom today over how it handles its rivals. A $1.8 billion class action lawsuit has been filed against the iPhone maker, accusing it of abusing its dominance and overcharging customers on its App Store. Apple's lawyers are arguing that users have not suffered any loss and its commissions are reasonable and fair. The outcome could be a sign of things to come since Alphabet is facing an identical trial later this year over alleged overcharging for purchases on Google Play Store. Markets are mixed heading toward the close, with the Dow up 0.7, while the S&P is shifting up and down a fraction, the Nasdaq down 0.75%. I'm Nancy Lyons, Bloomberg Radio.
Let's get a last check of the roads next. Brought to you this time out by McCrory Carpet One and by Olympic Medical Center.
Something astounding awaits you at McCrory Carpet One in Sequim, Port Angeles, and Port Hadlock. All McCrory Carpet One showrooms have been remodeled, revamped, reorganized, and are even better and more luxurious than before. Bigger displays, more options, updated styles, colors, and trends. McCrory Carpet One is the #1 place on the peninsula for any and all of your flooring needs. Check out their beautiful new showrooms in Sequim, Port Angeles, and Port Hadlock.
Does your Happy New Year come with happy news of a baby on the way? At Olympic Medical Center, our labor and delivery team gives moms a birth experience they'll cherish. Choose from experienced obstetricians or certified nurse midwives to tailor your birthing experience to you and your baby. Labor and delivery at OMC, a delivery designed with you. Learn more at olympicmedical.org/baby.
Newsradio KONP. Traffic and roads.
One last time up to Clallam Transit Dispatch Center we go. That is where Steve's standing by with an eye on things for us this noon hour on the roads. Good afternoon, Steve.
Hi there. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, a little on the busy side to the Port Angeles Swim area right now. Traffic is moving along, but a couple of slowdowns out there, mostly around the stoplights, those kind of things. But just a little patience, you'll make your way through everything. If you're on the highway between the city, right now 101's in good shape all the way. Just light to moderate traffic out there right now, and it is moving along at the speed limit. If you're headed beyond that, Hood Canal Bridge good to go with no scheduled marine openings, and looks like state ferries are also running on time today. If you're headed out to the west end, 101, we're in good shape all the way out. There are a few slick spots out there still within the shaded areas and stuff, so I'm getting reports about that, so just be careful out there. They also have a road crew working out there around Reddick Road, so be very careful in that construction area. So everybody enjoy your afternoon, be safe out there. This is Steve reporting live from Clallam Transit for KONP.
Thanks, Steve. It is 12:53 now. Though the statute of limitations is long expired and no prosecutions are likely, a community meeting in Tulsa, in Oklahoma, Saturday heard results of a first-ever Justice Department review of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. Here's ABC's Chuck Sievertson.
Assistant Attorney General Kristen Clark says the white men who burned, killed, and terrorized the black section of town were too well organized to be called a mob.
They became coordinated and efficient in their destruction. They murdered, looted, burned, and destroyed 35 city blocks while Greenwood's residents tried desperately to defend their homes.
The attack left as many as 300 dead and 1,200 homes, businesses, schools, and churches destroyed.
Well, Dunkin' stores in Nebraska and New Mexico faced an unusual issue last week. No donuts for a donut store. Yeah, locations in Omaha, Lincoln, and Grand Island displayed signs apologizing for the shortage, with the company attributed to a manufacturing error. Some stores offered limited options like donut holes, but most shelves were empty. In Albuquerque, New Mexico, employees cited supply chain issues as delivery trucks arrived but didn't have any donuts on board. A Dunkin' spokesperson said the issue stemmed from a problem with a single supplier affecting about 4% of their U.S. stores. Efforts to restock are now underway. Despite the disruption, stores in other regions, including the Northeast, reported no shortages. The Massachusetts-based chain, which rebranded from Dunkin' Donuts to Just Dunkin' in 2018 operates about 9,500 U.S. locations. All right, join us next hour on the Todd Ortloff Show. We're going to be talking about 4PA and what's new with them and their Touchstone campus. And we'll have Clallam County Prosecuting Attorney Mark Nichols joining us. He'll take a look back at the year that was and some of his goals in the prosecutor's office moving into 2025.
The Los Angeles fires are bringing out what I like to call true colors. In times of hardship, open hearts give. In times of grief, true friends come to stand by us. And those with darker, greedy hearts show theirs too. I'm Kim Commando for Oracle. Cut your current cloud bill in half if you move to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Does your company qualify? Visit oracle.com/Kim today. From the Daily Mail, even as the fires continue, one-time American sweetheart, This Is Us actress Mandy Moore, opened a GoFundMe page for her adult in-law, a traveling musician. She's begging for money, $60,000, but she made $26 million over the show's 6-year run. Here's another. Khloe Kardashian donated $2,500 to the firefighters. She's worth $60 million at least. Thanks, Khloe. So I want you to remember, the Red Cross is the only way to help, and the only address is redcross.org. Do it now while you're thinking about it. Join over 600,000 people who get my free daily newsletter. Sign up at getkim.com. Even if you think it's a bit overhyped, AI is suddenly everywhere, from self-driving cars to molecular medicine to business efficiency. If it's not in your industry yet, it's coming fast. But AI needs a lot of speed and computing power. So how do you compete without costs just spiraling out of control? It's time to upgrade to the next generation of the cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. It's a blazing fast and secure platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, plus all of your AI and machine learning workloads. OCI costs 50% less for computing and 80% less for networking. Thousands of businesses have already upgraded. Oracle is offering to cut your current cloud bill in half if you move to OCI. Offer ends March 31st, 2025. See if your company qualifies for this special offer at oracle.com/Kim. That's oracle.com/Kim, oracle.com/Kim, oracle.com/Kim.
Coming up, have you ever used an ice pack as a sleeping aid? In a moment, I'll share a popular trend that has people raiding their freezer at bedtime. It's next in today's Intelligence for Your Life Minute.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppables, you just toss, wash, wow, for all-day freshness.
So next time you're struggling to fall asleep, try grabbing an ice pack from your freezer. According to a viral video, applying ice to your chest is an effective way to promote sleep, and research now shows this will work. It's because your vagus nerve, the longest nerve in your body, runs from your ears down along your neck and chest and into your digestive tract. And according to neuroscientist Dr. Anne-Sophie Fleury, exposing your vagus nerve to cooler temperatures is an effective way to ignite your relaxation response. It activates the release of neurotransmitters that help slow your breathing and your heart rate. That tells your body to prepare for sleep. And by the way, this calming trick doesn't have to be just for bedtime, because icing the vagus nerve is a great way to feel calmer any time of day. I'm John Tesh with today's Intelligence for Your Life Minute.
Get ready to rock and roll with the ultimate classic hits band, Black Diamond Junction. From the electrifying sounds of the 60s, 70s, and 80s to the timeless anthems that define generations, Black Diamond Junction delivers non-stop entertainment that will have you dancing all night long. Whether you're planning a corporate event, wedding, or private party, don't miss out on the ultimate classic hits experience. Book Black Diamond Junction for your next event and let the good times roll. Visit our website, blackdiamondjunction.com, or call 360-460-2010 to reserve your date. Black Diamond Junction, keeping the classics alive, one unforgettable performance at a time.
News, sports, and information for the North Olympic Peninsula. We're News Radio KONP, Port Angeles, Squim, a Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In Southern California, at least 24 are confirmed dead after this week's LA County wildfires. 12,000 structures destroyed and tens of thousands still displaced. The wildfires still burning, and now the winds are back.
Already, those Santa Ana winds are blowing again. Now another PDS red flag warning has been issued. PDS standing for particularly dangerous situation. Up to 70-mile-per-hour winds are possible through Wednesday. The fires already burning could rage back to life or new ones could start. LA City Fire Chief Kristen Crowley.
We are not in the clear as of yet, and we must not let our guard down.
Vehicle parking rules are being enforced to keep roads clear for fire engines to access narrow roads. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
In 1 week, President-elect Trump will be sworn into office. Authorities say there are no credible threats, but they're stepping up security on the ground and in the skies over the nation's capital due to the heightened threat environment. The biggest concern, Capitol Police say, is a lone actor situation. ABC's Olivia Rubin says turnout is expected to be high.
A whopping turnout. Capitol Police say they are expecting over 250,000 ticketed guests at Trump's inauguration. They're also, though, bracing for those coming to demonstrate.
For the first time in more than a year, Israel and Hamas indicating they are on the verge of reaching a Gaza ceasefire deal.
The White House says it's working closely with the incoming Trump administration to present what National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan called a united message to all the parties involved in the hostage release and ceasefire negotiations. Sullivan said they are, quote, on the brink of reaching a deal after an aggressive push in recent weeks.
There's a couple of reasons for why this is happening, the biggest one of which is that Israel has achieved its substantial military objectives in Gaza.
Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
You're listening to ABC News.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Blue Origin, the space tech company founded by Jeff Bezos, delayed the launch of its New Glenn rocket, set to be the first from the company to reach orbit. A technical problem forced the company to scrub this morning's launch. No word yet on when they'll try again to launch the 30-story tall rocket. Palestinian activists planted a grove of 250 olive trees in a northern West Bank town in memory of the late President Jimmy Carter, describing him as a staunch supporter of the Palestinian cause. Dozens killed in Africa's most populated country in what authorities say is another Islamic State-affiliated attack.
An attack in northeast Nigeria Saturday left at least 40 farmers dead, and a government official says the ISIS-affiliated Boko Haram group carried out the attack and that civilians should stay in designated safe zones. This is the latest flash of violence that began in 2009 as Boko Haram seeks to impose its radical version of Islamic law. The UN says the conflict has led to 35,000 civilian deaths and displaced more than 2 million. Brian Clark, ABC News.
Svetlana Dali, the woman who allegedly snuck onto a Delta from flight from JFK to Paris in November, was indicted today on a stowaway charge. The 57-year-old was rearrested in December in Buffalo after she cut off her GPS monitoring device and attempted to enter Canada. I'm Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Your enjoyment starts now with all the colors of the season at everyone's favorite haven, Airport Garden Center.
Airport Garden Center opened for business in 1977 as a pet, plant, and feed store by Eldora and Floyd Matthews. The family-run operations continue as Betsy and Mark Matthews lovingly run the business to this day. Their family provides your family quality service and products for a fun pet and child-friendly shopping atmosphere. Looking for a special, unique gift? Airport Garden Center is proud to support locally sourced items like Full Moon Candles and Pacific Rain Shadow Farms handcrafted soap and Miss B Apiary Honey. And we love helping you plan each season by offering monthly special savings. Go to airportgarden.biz for current specials or just stop on by the store on Edgewood Drive. Airport Garden Center, planting knowledge, growing gardeners since 1977.
KONP News brought to you by RE/MAX Evergreen Real Estate. Outstanding agents, outstanding results. 457-6600. Sequim City Council member Kathy Downer retiring after this week's meeting, ending her term early. 72-year-old Downer, who joined the council in 2022, cited a desire to spend more time with her grandchild and pursue other interests. The retired nurse's term was originally set to run through 2027. The council is expected to begin the process of filling her seat through applications and public interviews. If no decisions made within 90 days, Clallam County commissioners could step in to appoint a replacement. And La Nina conditions are officially here. Forecasters say the rest of the winter should be a bit colder and wetter here in western Washington.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by Olympic Game Farm. Highs around 45 this afternoon. Under cloudy skies, winds out of the northeast around 5 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 36 tonight. Highs around 45 tomorrow. Cloudy. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times and dry. Wednesday and Thursday, upper 40s. Wednesday, mid 40s by Thursday. Looking further out, 42 Friday, 41 Saturday, and 41 on Sunday. To recap, highs reach 45 today. We should dip down to around 36 tonight. High of 45 tomorrow. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently 45.
It's the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP. Now, here's Todd.
And welcome to the program. I'm going to get an update, an important one on, I think, a very important group that a lot of folks have gotten behind in the last number of years. That's 4PA. This is a nonprofit that has formed in the last number of years that has two goals. Help clean up some of the public spaces that are out there that are in Port Angeles, but probably more importantly, giving some hope to folks that have been encamping and causing some of the messes, if you will, that have been cleaned up. And we welcome back to the studio Joe DeScala, who was the brainchild of all of this. How many years ago was this? It's been 4 years almost now? 3 years at least.
Just a little over 3 years,
Yeah,
actually.
okay.
October of 2021.
And I know, and I remember talking with you when you first kind of launched this.
Yep.
Maybe you can just go back and give people a little flavor as to what made you decide that, something needed to happen.
Sure.
From maybe a non-governmental state of things with this.
Yeah. A lot's happened in the last 3 years, but kind of rewinding to when it started, I grew up here, born and raised, and you're used to seeing certain things or not seeing certain things in our town. And I kind of got to the point where homelessness was increasing around us. A lot of news in Seattle and Portland was hitting the headlines of how bad things were getting there. And I kind of noticed similar trends and behaviors here in our town and wasn't seeing a ton, at least from my perspective, being done about it. And so I kind of went on a mission of learning, who's doing what things still need to be done. And through that process, I learned there was a couple big gaps in services. Cleanup was one, like you mentioned, but then more importantly is this kind of temporary shelters for people, places for people to actually get off the street and get into a community or environment where they can begin to get better.
So phase one was the cleanup part. I know that you launched a really, I'll call it an assertive, maybe not aggressive effort to get out and get some areas cleaned up.
Yeah.
And I think that really got a lot of traction for you. I know you got a lot of folks that then started donating to your cause and kind of helping funding you. You've gotten some corporate backing in the process too. So obviously you found something that resonated with folks.
Yeah, I think I hit a nerve for sure. I think the timing was prime. People were looking for answers and somebody to do something, and so I just kind of filled that void and stepped in. we did start with cleanup because that was really top on the priority list for the community. Our public spaces, a lot of areas had been utilized for camping, but had since been abandoned, but the garbage remained. And so there were a lot of areas like that we just went after that first year. Actually, chipping away at them the last couple of years. And to date, we've cleaned up over 250,000 pounds of debris. And all the big sites that we had on our radar when we started, I'm happy to say, are clean. So,
and I know you've had to revisit some.
Sure.
But have you seen that kind of like an attrition, if you will, where it's gotten less and less as you've gone back?
Yeah. Despite what maybe some people see, it has been reduced. We do what I kind of consider maintenance routes now, where, there's areas we go back and revisit that are still being populated by people. But we're kind of in a good routine and relationship with them where we pick up their garbage on a regular basis, try to keep things as tidy as possible in those scenarios. But a lot of the big areas that we had cleaned prior have not been utilized again. So in that regard, it's a success, but we still have a ways to go because the bottom line is people are still living outside.
Right. Yeah. What has been the approach? I know this is something people have probably asked you this. It's like, well, some of this may be belongings of people, and you're just, you're kind of raiding their house, if you will.
Right.
How do you approach that?
Yeah, it's a super sensitive area, and a lot of people kind of are under that impression that that's how we operate, and it really couldn't be farther from the truth. From day one, we met with police and social service agencies to really kind of understand the culture and how to do it humanely. And so when we set out to clean areas, anytime we pick something up, it's been verified abandoned by either police or social services or the individual themselves because we have those relationships. So we have a pretty strict protocol that we follow. If there's any doubts, the stuff remains until we can verify everything 100%.
And I think that leads into a bit of what this next chapter is for you.
Yeah.
These relationships that you've kind of formed with folks that have been homeless. You're hoping that you can get them some help so they ultimately aren't camping down in the future. So let's talk about then kind of what's next, because some big news is coming. And you're going to start in on your Touchstone campus. You just told me that groundbreaking on that is perhaps tomorrow as well. So
Yeah. The Touchstone campus is a huge initiative that, really we set out from the beginning to do, but it's just now kind of coming to fruition. But we worked with my board of directors, or I worked with the board to really figure out what kind of shelters we wanted to offer, because there's a lot of variations if you look across different communities. We visited a lot. We did a lot of research. On what types of homes, what types of things we could set up. And ultimately, we landed on the model, which is like a tiny home village. So you've got multiple individual small shelter units with a centralized common area where the bathrooms and the showers and the restrooms and everything are housed. Because what that does is it gives people a little independence when they have their own unit and privacy. But then the communal aspect of kind of really creating that community and relationships. So we purchased the property at 230 East 1st Street back in September of 2023. Some people may remember it as the Lanoy Motors or the Spa Shop. Pen Print, that whole complex there, which couldn't have been a better fit. The city has informed us for zoning and everything we want to do, but it's got almost an acre of property, 9,000 square feet of existing building space. So on half of that property is where we're going to build 11 temporary shelters, which are like little 8x12 shed-style structures with power and heat and air conditioning. But they're pretty basic, in a bed. And then the old Spa Shop is what we're going to renovate into our common facilities. So we've been working really hard the last year to work with our designer, our architect, get the plans dialed in, fundraise, of course, and save money, go through the application process for our permits with the city, which we received right before Christmas. And the big news is, as you alluded to, is tomorrow we're scheduled to break ground.
So for folks who drive by there, how different will that look when it's all said and done? What's that parcel going to look like?
Yeah, you probably won't notice a ton from the road initially because most of the activity will be in the south end of the property or the back side of it off of Front Street. That's where the small shelters are going to go. So tomorrow we start upgrading our electrical service. Everything's got to be brought up to code. We received a super generous grant from First Fed Foundation to cover the first electrical upgrade, which that'll be starting to happen tomorrow. And then we'll be doing some ground prep work to put foundations in for the tiny homes. So a lot of the work, I would say, this next several months will be not as visible. Okay. And then once we start tearing into the common facilities that's facing First Street, that's where most of the transformation that's visible will happen. So
a couple of things. One, and we'll get to the admittance into that to get a room, if you will, in just a moment. But first, let's talk about the common facilities, because this isn't going to just be a place to eat and get together. I mean, you're hoping to have ways to get people some skills, get them into a workforce. I mean, get them assimilated into society a bit, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You nailed it. It's I would kind of liken it more to like an opportunity center. Yeah. We believe strongly as an organization that you've got to have some skin in the game. This will be a high barrier facility with no drugs or alcohol. So the intent is that you've gone through some sort of recovery program, if you need it, and that you come to us ready to learn life skills, get on your feet. Because what we've learned is that those that are homeless, they're so focused on the basic necessities, surviving, that they don't have time to focus on kind of that next phase. So if we can give them some stability for about up to a year in our shelters, so they can kind of have that, sense of relief or that pressure off them just to survive, then they can focus on the next phase of their life, building skills. We're going to offer job opportunities. We're going to start a small business there that the folks will operate themselves. I have 2 guys working for me now on my cleaning crew.
I was just going to say, you actually are employed folks that came from a camp, essentially, right?
Correct, yeah. And that's my goal moving forward, is that my workforce will be built from the folks that we're trying to help. And so, any revenue and resources that we receive, donations, a good bulk of that's going to go right back into the pockets of the people that we're trying to help.
Ultimately, how many folks do you think you can house there at any time?
We've got 11 shelters going up with room for 3 more in like a future expansion. Okay. But you got to remember, this is on a rotating basis too. So the goal is to stay with us for about a year and then have people rotate in and out. So, as we go down the road, it's going to be more and more people as the years go by.
How is this different than maybe some of the other opportunities that are out there, some other housing things, the Serenity Houses, that sort of, services that are already available? Yeah.
Serenity House is, an amazing. They serve a lot of people that's really necessary here in our community, so I can't give them, enough credit. But ours is going to be different, I think, because of the opportunities and the job opportunities. Because, we're looking at things more that when a person walks out our door after about a year, they've got the skills and perhaps even the income to become self-sufficient. And I think that really sets us apart, because we want to kind of have a pipeline of people feeding into our community that can work in restaurants and have, job skills to go into other areas of our community. So I think that sets us apart. There's not a lot of programs that I'm aware of locally that have that element to it. And like I mentioned before, the privacy of an individual unit is a little different than some of the other facilities as well.
So essentially they have up to a year. It's almost, I'm going to say rent-free in a sense that if they're accepted into this, they hold their end of the bargain and start going through some of this. They get some time to get their feet under them. That's the plan.
Yeah, that's the plan. We do have a committee right now that's working through kind of our code of conduct for those that to adhere to. If there is any rent, it's going to be minimal. If anything, that rent would go into a savings account that, they would get at the end of their time, things like that, where again, you're learning skills for your future, putting money aside, saving for certain things. But, we don't want to make it difficult for you as well. We want to make it as, friendly as possible, setting you up for success, essentially.
Now, there certainly is more than probably 11 folks that could use these types of services. Yeah. So how do they get in it? Are you going to screen? Yeah. How are you going to find people and reach out to them, I guess, is the next thing.
Yeah, you're right. There's much more than 11 people. We're meeting a need. It's not the complete need. And we are working closely with a few other agencies in town that'll help us kind of vet or recommend clients We work closely with Olympic Peninsula Community Clinic, Peninsula Behavioral Health, North Olympic Healthcare Network. So there's a few partners in the social service world that have clients already that they will say, hey, you guys, like, we've got this person that would be a perfect fit for your facility, and we'll work hand in hand to, go through the application process based on their recommendations. And the other nice thing is we're working on agreements where those agencies will help with the continuum of care. So they'll act as almost a caseworker for those that are in the campus. Yeah.
As far as staffing, we have 24/7 staffing. How does that look? I guess since it's set up in a kind of a communal sense. I guess you probably need some folks there that can run the communal part of this.
Yeah, no, it is going to be a vital piece. And actually, our first resident we've already got lined up. It's a gentleman that works for me currently, and he's scheduled to be our first occupant and our on-site manager.
Okay.
So he'll live there, manage the complex as far as the day-to-day. But you got to remember, our cleaning facility is on site too, our cleaning crew, because we have a shop right there. It's like an all-in-one campus. So we're there 6 days a week. I'll personally be there. The rest of our staff will be in and out. So there's gonna be eyes on the facility, very continually. And we do have some ideas for kind of a campus coordinator position in the future that will work a little bit more directly with the folks staying there.
It's pretty exciting, though. I remember it's only been a year plus or so I was talking with you about. This was your vision to get to this point. I think at that point you didn't even really have a clue as to property or anything until this bubbled up.
Yeah, it has been an accelerated timeline. I mean, we've done a lot in 3 years. We're kind of way ahead of where I thought. Yeah. But really, there's so much more left to do. I try not to focus too much on that. We want to get the campus built. We're about 20% of the way there on the funding. So we've got a lot of the structures funded already, as you might have seen on our Tiny Home Tuesday campaign. So I'm confident that we're going to be tracking to hit those fully funded here over the course of the next year. But then we need to shift gears to raise the rest of the money for the common facility, which is actually the bulk of our cost. But again, we've got a great team, and we've got some fundraisers down the pipeline, and I'm confident that we'll get it done.
Which leads me, I think, to the question a lot of people probably say is that, how are you able to do this? Is it because you're not, beholden to a government, so to speak, where you can kind of just do it your way? Is that maybe the most helpful part of your entire organization and your effort?
It's been a pretty key element of how we do things. We're grassroots. We're not tied to anybody but our community. I've kind of said, if you're gonna sow into our organization, I'm accountable to you. So we've really prided ourselves on giving the community a return on their investment. But you're right, we don't, up to this point, we haven't taken any funds from any federal, state, county, city pool. And so we're not, as you said, beholden to their kind of rules or regulations. We can kind of take the money that is donated to us, make a decision on how it should be utilized, and put it to work immediately.
That said, though, it is not that the city hasn't worked with you on projects.
Correct.
You do some cleanup things, you do work, and I know the city has waived some dump fees and things like that as well. But.
Yeah, the city's great. Port Angeles Police Department is great. City staff, Parks Department, everybody's awesome. I actually meet with them once a month in kind of a committee we have going where we talk more strategy. I'm in communication with PAPD on a weekly basis. So correct, they do waive our dump fees if our loads come from city property. And, I've got city council members that are in tune with our organization and are for us and helping us kind of get the word out. So, the city's been great. It's just that we haven't kind of crossed that line of receiving any funding from them. Yeah.
And it sounds like you might be a little reluctant to cross that line until it would be an absolute necessity.
You're right. It's one of those things where I don't want to go down that road if we don't have to. And it's not that there's just a lot of things that come along with it. There is red tape, there's different reporting. And I think the biggest thing for me is I want to have, and our group wants to have the say in who we help and how we help them. And anytime you take money from another entity, there's kind of this thing looming over your head that they have a say in the direction. Not to say that, other funding areas don't have good ideas, and they have reasons that they actually want reporting from the agencies they give money to. But again, we got good momentum. There's no need to go down that road just yet. Yeah.
I'm impressed by just how much grassroots you have involved. How many donors do you have? Do you have a rough number at this point? Because last time I knew, it was a lot of folks.
Yeah, for sure. We've got about 250 households that donate to us on a monthly pledge basis. Over 60 businesses that pledge to us on a monthly basis. Lots of individual one-time givers that wouldn't be considered, reoccurring. Which have been amazing, some pretty large one-time gifts. And then we do contract privately with Rainier, the old Rainier Mill, the people that manage that property. And so we do a private contract where we maintain the Rainier Mill site property as well for a fee every month. So there's, we're working on other ways to raise money. We just launched an initiative called Made for PA, where we're selling merchandise that's branded Made for PA, and so a percentage of all those sales come back into the organization. Once we get the small business up and running on our site that will be run by the individuals there, A, it will pay them, but B, it'll be another source of income for the organization. So yeah, we're really trying to become independent from solely donations. I mean, donations are going to be a big part of what we do for a long time, but I think it's wise to diversify, if you will, make ourselves a little more sustainable or insulated from who knows what goes on with the economy,
Right. Two final questions. One, cleanups. I mean, that's still going to be part of your projects.
Yes.
You mentioned you've got a shop. You're going to still have crews going out, correct?
Correct, yeah. Yeah, we do volunteer routes on a weekly basis. We go do a sweep through downtown. We run up and down Peabody Creek, Tumwater truck route. We do those once a week just to make sure they're nice and tidy and litter-free. So, and those are really fun for volunteers to come hang out with us. We launched another initiative last year called Design Your Own Route, because our volunteer time slots didn't work for everybody. And so now we will train you. We've got a couple trainings throughout the year, one coming up March 1st. We'll train you in all of our protocols. And then once you're done with the training, you can adopt kind of your own area around your house. You're not dependent on our areas. And we'll give you the buckets, the grabbers, the 4 PA vests. You report into us how much you clean up every week, and we'll post it out there on our social media so others can see. So we're trying to get the word out and, eventually get the entire city covered.
That would be great, right?
Yeah, it'd be amazing.
Yeah. Last bit.
Yep.
As somebody that's out there, and you guys have been engaged, and like you said, for the 3+ years now, what does the area need to help get over the hump of this homelessness problem? I mean, there's a lot of folks. I mean, we're complaining about it here all the time as well. It's just like this is, and I grew up here too. So you and I have the same vision, the same view of what has happened here. It didn't used to be like this.
Yeah, I think that the strategy piece, a citywide strategy that kind of all entities the city are in agreement on, would be a game changer. You look at, for instance, like the city of Bellingham has really turned a corner because, their social service agencies, their public works, police, they kind of all came together and had a strategy on, okay, if there's an encampment over here, how are we going to handle it? First, we're going to send out outreach workers to kind of engage with the individuals to see how we can help them. The next phase is to, physically help them get from point A to point B. And then, at the end of it, there is still cleanup if areas need cleanup. So that's going to be part of the strategy. But I think a wider breadth of options as far as housing is concerned is super necessary. And, there's permanent supportive housing, which means if somebody moves into that, they don't have to move out. And that's great. But there's a huge waiting list for those. And so up to maybe like 3 years. Wow. So we're trying to bridge that gap from like 1 to 3 years where there's some sort of shelter for you to be in that's not in a tent or in a public space. If we can bridge that gap and somebody doesn't need to be in a tent, they can be in a transitional shelter while they're working towards a permanent shelter, I think that's going to be the big game changer.
All right. Your website?
4pa.org.
Head over there. It's a great way to find out everything that you have going on. I know you
Yep.
put lots of updates about the
Yep.
Touchstone campus and also ways you can donate. You're constantly, I know, ready, willing, and able to have folks jump on board the monthly subscription, if you will.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Joe, it's fabulous what's happened with your organization. You're growing at leaps and bounds, as you mentioned, I think a lot faster than you thought all those years ago. But good luck on the groundbreaking.
Yeah, tomorrow. We'll see how she goes.
All right. I definitely will get you back sooner rather than later as we
Okay.
get an update on what's happening over there, right?
Thanks, Todd.
All right. That's Joe Descala. He is the founder of 4PA. And go to 4PA.org. You can learn more about their efforts to help tackle homelessness in their own unique way here in the Port Angeles area. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on Newsradio KONP.
I understand that as our world becomes more automated, receiving personalized service from a real person is more meaningful than ever. I'm Dan Shappy, and as a farmer's agent, I know a thing or two about how to help you select the insurance you want so you can
protect what matters most.
Call 360-681-0696 to learn more and chat with me, a real person and experienced farmer's agent, today.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. This is Leslie Robertson from the Port Angeles Chamber, and I'm here to tell you about some upcoming events. First of all, mark your calendars for Saturday, February 1st, where we'll host the 2024 Port Angeles Community Awards Gala at Field Arts and Events Hall. This is an evening where we'll celebrate some of the best of Port Angeles, and awards will be given for Organization of the Year, Emerging Business of the Year, Business of the Year, Educator of the Year, Young Leader of the Year, and Citizen of the Year. For more information about the awards, visit our website, portangeles.org. Then, on March 13th, we'll have the Clallam County Spring Job Fair at Burn Burton Community Center. Employers who would like to participate can register online at portangeles.org. Also in March, on March 22nd, will be the Olympic Peninsula Wedding Expo at Field Arts and Events Hall. For information about any of these events, please visit our website, portangeles.org. See you soon.
At United Way of Clallam County, we believe in a future where everyone can reach their full potential. That is why we mobilize our community to support over 20 local nonprofits that provide key resources to those in our community that need them. From Sarge's Veteran Support in Forks to the Free Clinic in Squim, United Way is there to amplify the caring power of our community. Donate today at tinyurl.com/UnitedWayClallam.
Todd Ortloff now with a word for Olympic Peninsula title. They don't just have customers, they have raving fans. Yeah, for over 40 years, they've been earning the repeat business of their customers by treating them with respect, delivering what they promise, prioritizing the security of customers' funds and information, and always providing service with a smile. When it's time to choose a title company to close your transaction, opt for Olympic Peninsula Title and see for yourself why they've earned over 500 five-star reviews, and they've been voted best title company in Clallam County over and over again.
Have you been searching and searching for anyone to install, repair, or replace your windows? What about looking for someone to install a new exterior door? And what about a skylight, or a new glass shower enclosure, or even a glass railing system? It can be hard, if not near impossible, to just get a call back. We at Hartnagel Building Supply sympathize with just how difficult it can be to get fast and dependable glass services. It's why we created our newest division, Hartnagel Glassworks. With over 80 years of combined experience, our team is ready and excited to help you on your next project. Whether it's big or small, residential or commercial, installation or repair, we can pretty much handle anything related to glass. Contact us today at 360-417-8388 or at hbsglassworks.com. Angeles Millwork and Hartnagel Building Supply, building homes, building community since 1906.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Tens of thousands of residents in Los Angeles County still not able to return to their neighborhoods after last week's deadly wildfires. Santa Ana winds are back, along with the threat of hurricane-force gusts. Fireman George Baxter is among several firefighters who lost homes in Altadena and didn't think the Eaton fire would spread to their area.
85-mile-per-hour winds. It's just nobody stood a chance. Nobody could be prepared for it. It's just a natural disaster.
The exact cause of the Eaton fire still under investigation. escalation. The Biden administration says a Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal between Israel and Hamas is getting closer as brokered talks progress. Confirmation hearings set to begin this week for President-elect Trump's key cabinet posts. And Starbucks says it's reversing its hangout policy. The new chain policy will require a person to purchase something in order to stay or use the restrooms. The company says it's working to make its stores more welcoming, that after a drop-off in customers and sales. This is ABC News.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by Olympic Game Farm. Highs around 45 this afternoon. Under cloudy skies, winds out of the northeast around 5 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 36 tonight. Highs around 45 tomorrow. Cloudy. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times and dry. Wednesday and Thursday, upper 40s. Wednesday, mid 40s by Thursday. Looking further out, 42 Friday, 41 Saturday, and 41 on Sunday. To recap, highs reach 45 today. We should dip down to around 36 tonight. High of 45 tomorrow. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently 45.
All right, next couple segments, we're going to be talking with Prosecutor Mark Nichols for Clallam County. We were just joking as we went on that since we last chatted, I now have to remove the coroner ex officio part off of that because of changes that have happened in state law and here in Clallam County. So we're going to be focusing a little bit about some coroner stats before the end of last year when things changed, but that'll be kind of it for now. But most of what we'll talk about is kind of a look back at what last year was like in the prosecutor's office, and then Mark has some look ahead. I know he's got some goals here in the next 12 months that he'd like to see through. So Mark, good to see you again. Happy New Year.
Great to be here. Thank you, Todd.
And thanks for stopping by. And let's, I guess, roll back first and let's just talk about 2024. And let's just go to the coroner stuff first, maybe, and then we can get off that and we can just spend the rest of the time with the prosecutor.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so, as folks may or may not know, we within county government have separated the coroner functions from the prosecutor's office, as you said, based on some changes in state law on the one hand, and a late-breaking attorney general opinion on the other. And so my remarks in relation to the work on the coroner front through calendar year 2024 are somewhat abbreviated, especially recognizing that book of business and that set of functions is now being overseen by District Court 1 Judge Dave Newpert, who is acting as county coroner at the time being. And so on the coroner front in 2024, the goal that I had in relation to that division was twofold. On the one hand, it was to continue the build out of the division. And so at present, we have two standalone full-time equivalent forensic medical legal death investigator positions that are funded, and they are fully staffed with trained, certified people. And so I feel quite good about that for our community. They are fully capable of discharging the coroner duties and functions under the leadership of Judge Newpert. Part and parcel of the continued effort to build out the division, we were able through calendar year 2024 to complete acquisition and build out of the county's first coroner vehicle. And so that's something that occurred prior to the close of 2024. We were able to put that vehicle into use, and so you may see it driving around the county from time to time. The reason it's important to have that vehicle is because it's equipped with all of the necessary features to allow for the people within that division to safely perform the duties of the job. And by safely, I speak in terms of, from a physics perspective, moving bodies and weights and measures around, and then in relation to body substance isolation, staying safe with respect to bloodborne pathogens and the like. They've got all the equipment to do that at the level needed in today's day and age. And so that work will continue, again, under the leadership of somebody else moving forward. And I started the pitch in 2024 to add a third full-time equivalent forensic medical legal death investigator. I think the county acknowledged that request, and I believe we'll be working to act on it sometime during calendar year 2025.
And considering what most likely is going to happen here moving forward, this is going to become an entirely independent office, whether it's going to be an elected position or an appointed position. It needs to stand on its own.
I personally believe that to be the case, and I think the unofficial plan is to provide a first rite of passage to the Charter Review Commission, which convenes for the first time this evening. And if that body opts not to take up this issue, then the County Board of Commissioners have independent authority to promote a charter amendment to the voters towards the end of the calendar year. And so one way or the other, I think it'll wind up being looked at either by the CRC or by the County Board of Commissioners. And I envision through the course of time that will likely transition to being a county that, like all others our size, has an elected coroner, or there is, I suppose, a possibility that the coroner position could be appointed, but that will need to follow some legal research and advice that will likely flow at the hand of a special counsel that the county has brought on.
And we've talked about this in the past. Clallam County has been unique in the sense that it is a large county that probably should have had that separate coroner for many years, but because of our charter status, we have said we're not going to do that under the county's charter, which is the requirement. What way we're talking about a possible change in the charter too. But now the hand has been forced, I guess, because of the state law change in this Attorney General opinion.
Yes, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Each position, and when I say that, I speak in terms of the position of being county prosecutor on the one hand, being county coroner on the other. They're both large enough that they really warrant their own people overseeing each of those functions. And so as we discussed off air, I'm still coming into a full appreciation of what it means to have the luxury of just focusing on one set of elected official duties as compared to trying to administer two offices, which is what I've been doing for the last decade. And so there are some silver linings, as it turns out, and I'm most at peace because we anticipated the eventual separation. And so as a county organization, we have been very deliberate about building out a standalone coroner division, envisioning what has happened all of a sudden. And so there's been essentially a unbroken continued provision of really high quality service, and I feel great about that.
All right. Hold your thought. We're going to go. Let's talk prosecutor stuff. When we come back, we'll take a look back at the year that was and kind of some of your goals as just the prosecutor. Now moving ahead as we continue our discussion with Mark Nichols. He's the Clallam County prosecuting attorney right after this.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP.
I understand that as our world becomes more automated, receiving personalized service from a real person is more meaningful than ever. I'm Dan Shappy, and as a farmer's agent, I know a thing or two about how to help you select the insurance you want so you can
protect what matters most.
Call 360-681-0696 to learn more and chat with me, a real person and experienced farmer's agent, today.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Hello. This is Amanda Huff with Swim Valley and Harper Ridgeview Funeral Chapels. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about a new, exciting, and environmentally friendly development in the funeral industry. It's called natural organic reduction, or simply terramation. Perhaps you've heard of it. Terramation is a process in which the body, after death, is returned to the earth in a carbon-neutral, eco-friendly manner. The process takes place in a controlled environment, and all that remains is a natural, odorless, compost-like material. If you'd like more information about terramation and advanced planning, call us today at Harper Ridgeview in Port Angeles or Swim Valley Chapel and Swim, and one of our knowledgeable and caring funeral professionals will assist you in answering your questions. Harper Ridgeview and Swim Valley Funeral Chapels, because your loved ones deserve the best.
Hello, this is Port Commissioner Colleen McAleer. The Port of Port Angeles is proud to recognize the North Olympic Peninsula's accomplishment in being named one of 6 finalists for the nationwide Recompete Grant Program. Our region has secured $35 million to bring new jobs and training opportunities to citizens of Clallam and Jefferson counties, including in the marine trades, natural resources, construction, and more. Recompete's goal is to create new paths to high-quality jobs, helping areas like ours that have lost major industries make a comeback. The region-wide Recompete Coalition is working hard to create a more prosperous future where anyone can succeed and provide for their families. We're moving forward with the 21st century innovations that first made our region strong, from jobs on the water to jobs in the woods. Stay tuned for more updates from the Port and our recompete partners on how to get involved.
The 2025 KONP Home Show is back. We are now accepting vendor applications for the largest two-day marketing event on the peninsula. Put your business in the middle of thousands of potential clients. Booths starting at under $500. The KONP Home Show will be Saturday and Sunday, March 8th and 9th, 2025. Sign up now for best locations and to lock in the lower rates. Call 360-457-1450 and get your space for the 40th annual KONP Home Show, March 8th and 9th.
Hey, Mark Nichols, my guest. He's the Clallam County Prosecuting Attorney. We're going to take a little look back at the office and some stats and such from 2024, some highlights, if you will. And then we'll talk a bit about kind of what he sees 2025 looking like for the prosecutor's office. So that said, let's look back at 24. You know, how was the year as you saw it?
You know, it turned out pretty well on balance. And so at the beginning of 2024, actually at the end of 2023, I delivered a presentation, I think, to the Port Angeles Business Association, perhaps another couple of charitable groups, and identified a few goals. And the reason for which I did that is because I'm a true believer that you're nowhere without a goal. And as an elected official, I think it's only responsible that you do publicly identify goals so that people have a standard according to which they can judge your performance. And so that can be at times uncomfortable for elected officials, but I think it's implicit within the feature of holding elected office. And so one of the goals that I identified was continuing a strategic focus on the maintenance of comprehensive prosecution services. And by comprehensive, I mean from the lowest level. We are a jurisdiction that still, for example, prosecutes things like criminal trespass in the first degree, simple drug possession. These are crimes that in other jurisdictions were abandoned long ago, not because they're not occurring, but due to resource constraints or policy decisions made by the elected prosecutor. I believe it's important to continue prosecuting crimes that are on the books, including lower level crimes, because to do otherwise, in effect, moves the goalposts for society. And I think that can be very problematic from a public safety perspective. And we start at the bottom of the spectrum, and then we move all the way up to the top and obviously prioritize prosecuting violent crime. And so that was a goal heading into 2024, was to not allow changes in state law and other things that are occurring to erode that full service model, which exists and will continue so long as I'm in office. We were able to do that in large part due to the fact that we were able to fill some positions, some attorney positions primarily, and also some support staff positions that had been vacant for some time. And so in relation to the deputy prosecutor positions that we were able to fill, it was very much the case that I think a combination of hiring incentives, which we employed for the first time in the county's history with the prosecutor's office using ARPA monies, and then the passage of time allowed for us to find the right people who wanted to come to the North Olympic Peninsula and join our team. And so I am pleased to report that with the exception of one legal assistant position and one criminal deputy prosecuting attorney, which the Board of Commissioners deferred funding for all of 2025, all of our other positions are filled or in the process of being filled. And we have a 32-hour-a-week victim witness coordinator position that we're expecting will be filled probably by the end of this week. So because we were able to get our staffing contingent up, and that was partly due to the strategic plan of employing hiring incentives and also just a bit of luck with the market, frankly, we were able to refocus our efforts. And probably a good thing that happened. We saw an increase in referral activity from all branches of law enforcement to our district court division in 2024. And the ultimate number of adult misdemeanor referrals that we received was 1,660 for the entire calendar year. Looking back over the last 6 years, that is the highest number of referrals that we've ever received. Wow. It may well be an all-time high for the county's history.
So a lot of folks out there are going to say, so what's driving that? Just that much more district court crime, quote unquote, misdemeanor crime? What's your thought?
Well, that's a great question. Mm-hmm. If I could understand exactly what's driving all of the crime trends in the county, I think we'd be able to plan a little differently for how we do business. Yeah. Part of what I hear is that some of the numbers are rising around the state in the aftermath of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. I don't like to get too fixated on that. It's in the rearview mirror and we're moving forward. I tend to assign more value to that claim in relation to our county's youth, who I think were disproportionately impacted by virtue of some of the isolation measures during the pandemic. As to adults, I think there's a few things going on, and this is just my personal opinion, but on the one hand, the law enforcement profession, in my observation, is rebounding and recovering in the aftermath of the 2021 legislative session and some of the focus and scrutiny that was placed on the men and women of law enforcement. This is a state that placed so much criticism and scrutiny on law enforcement that it became almost unfriendly to that profession for a period of time. And I think we saw attrition within the ranks as a result. Mm-hmm. Things have rebounded a bit. I think there's been some balance applied, and we've seen more law enforcement positions filled. As a result of those positions being filled, there are more commissioned peace officers, and with more commissioned peace officers, I think we see that reflected in increased number of referrals coming to our office.
All right. Back to your numbers a bit. I didn't mean to get too far off track, but that's a significant rise, though, in the last number of years.
It is. And, to put it in perspective, 6 years ago in 2018, we had 1,111 referrals. If we look at 2021, a few years ago, we were up to 1,470. For 2024, we're at 1,660. Mm-hmm. So if you chart this, it's a pretty steady climb as a graph. And so we've been able to keep pace with that in our district court division, which is now fully staffed with 3 deputy prosecuting attorneys. We've got 2 out of 3 legal assistant positions staffed. The third one, again, has been deferred. But that's been a successful exercise because you're nowhere without a resourced prosecutor's office. And what I mean by that is the men and women of law enforcement can show up when people call for help, and they can investigate and effect arrest if needed. And then they refer the matter to the county prosecutor's office. And you really need to have the investigation, the accountability that occurs at law enforcement with the attendant follow through in the criminal justice system in order for accountability to occur, at least at the level that Washington's system allows it. And so that's been a success story, and it's a mirror image of what we've seen happen in our juvenile court division, where the climb and increase in activity is even more profound through calendar year 24. And so if I perform the same look back that I just spoke to in relation to district court, 6 years ago in 2018, we had 252 juvenile referrals to our office from all branches of local law enforcement. The numbers actually fell, interestingly, going into the pandemic. So by 2021, we were down to 121, and then they've rebounded. And for 2024, we hit 292, which is second only to 2019 when we had 295. But those numbers are climbing considerably in the aftermath of the pandemic having concluded. We talked on our last show a little bit about at least my belief regarding why, which is shared by a number of folks in psychological, sociological circles, criminal justice think tanks and such.
Yeah,
and
these folks, I mean, these are kids that lost 2 or 3 years almost of kind of sociological development.
They did.
And I think you're seeing delinquency tends to be something that will come from that.
Yes. When you change the schooling model, when you introduce the notion of social isolation for youth who are experiencing their formative years of life, I think we don't understand the half of what that does to a person. And so we're probably going to wind up contending with this for some time. And so the challenge will be to vet these referrals as they're made to our office, take a closer look at, if possible, what's driving the behavior. And we are equally focused with our county's youth and trying to get them help as we are providing a measure of accountability for their poor decisions or judgment in the moments.
All right, let's move to the felonies.
And so the felony division is where we have things going the other way, and it's interesting. And I wanted to to make a correction. I took a look at my notes after our last show, and I realized that the same 6-year look back that I've just spoken to in relation to our district court stats, looking at calendar year 2018, versus what we saw in 2021 and 2024, I misspoke. And so I think at the last show I mentioned that we were down several hundred referrals, and I was referring to 2021 when I meant to refer to 2018. And so just to make sure folks are clear on that, it was in 2018 that we saw 812 felony referrals to the county prosecutor's office from all branches of local law enforcement. By 2021, we were looking at 585, and by the end of 2024, we were looking at 542. And so there's a reduction by 270 with respect to the amount of referral activity that's coming into our office, and an attendant reduction in the number of cases that are being filed within the system. So something's happening in the felony crime arena that is interesting, in that we're seeing less numbers, less activity by way of numbers. At the same time, and in follow-up to my remarks from the last show, many of the cases that we're seeing come into the felony system are more complex, either based on the nature of allegation on the one hand, or more often the fact that so many of our adult felony cases feature prominently mental health issues and or substance use disorder issues, so collectively co-occurring disorder challenges that result in the proceedings becoming delayed, long and drawn out, because there are different types of evaluations that are ordered to occur. There are expert witnesses who are brought in to opine regarding a person's state of mind, et cetera, et cetera. And so the numbers may be down, but there's an awful lot of hearings. Things are taking quite a long time. And so I think one of our challenges moving forward is going to be to try and find opportunities to see if we can speed things along a bit within the constraints of the system. We can't compromise the quality of justice or infringe on a person's due process. By the same token, I believe there must be ways through which we can speed things along a bit, which I think would be in the interests of survivors or victims, as the case may be, and frankly, broader county community accountability, having people understand that accountability is occurring closer in time to the transgressing conduct as compared to further away in time.
All right, we only got about a minute or so left. If you've got a couple of goals, maybe you can highlight what you hope happens in this coming year as you move things along.
I'd be glad to. And so there are 4 things that I am going to be focusing on now that I have the luxury of just focusing on being county prosecutor. The first is continuing the strategic deployment of prosecution resources to effect justice at the broadest and most impactful level for communities across the North Olympic Peninsula. Second, and especially in light of some changes that are occurring at the state level in relation to criminal laws, and with the potential of the amendments that we think are going to occur to the public defense caseload standards, we're going to have to be very discerning, deliberate, and strategic about deciding what cases we're going to prosecute. We're going to need to be counting case credits, very likely, probably 6 months out ahead of time, to make sure that we have enough resource to absorb those violent offenses when they're referred as a priority matter, and then taking on the next rung of most serious offenses. If we get to the point where we need to stop prosecuting categories of crime, which is already something that's occurring in other jurisdictions, I'll be speaking loudly and publicly about why that's happening. But the long and short of it is that we have concerns that a statewide attorney shortage may necessitate that outcome if there are amendments to the public defense caseload standards. So more to come on that. Mm-hmm. Other than those 2 things, focusing on the strategic deployment of prosecution resources, troubleshooting these challenges in relation to changes in state law and proposed amendments to caseload standards, I'm very adamant about wanting to continue support for our various therapeutic court programs, the drug court program, the mental health court program, Should we have a veterans court program? I think it will be vitally important to support that. That effort is going to be complicated by amendments to the caseload standards should they occur again. And so more to come on that. And then last but not least, increased training with law enforcement is something that is very important. We have a lot of new recruits, not only in relation to the world of law enforcement, but even in the county prosecutor's office. We've got some new folks who may be seasoned attorneys, but they're not seasoned prosecutors. And so making sure we're onboarding people in a responsible way, educating them regarding the trade, some of the unique aspects of Washington law is going to pay forward in dividends when it comes to law enforcement being able to refer prosecutable cases and us being able to get across the finish line with defensible convictions. And so all of that I plan on bringing forward through continued transparency and public education and outreach, which I never lose sight of. I feel it's very important given the mysterious nature of what prosecutors do and what happens within the confines of the criminal justice system.
All right. Stay tuned. Mark Nichols, great talking to you. We'll do it again next month, all right?
Great. Thanks,
all
Todd.
Right. Sounds good. We'll take a break, and we'll check in with some news coming up next.
Rely on us for complete news coverage. We're News Radio KONP, Port Angeles Squim, a Radio Pacific station.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Tens of thousands of residents in Los Angeles County still not able to return to their neighborhoods after last week's deadly wildfires. Santa Ana winds are back, along with the threat of hurricane-force gusts. Fireman George Baxter is among several firefighters who lost homes in Altadena and didn't think the Eaton fire would spread to their area.
85-mile-per-hour winds. It's just nobody stood a chance. Nobody could be prepared for it. It's just a natural disaster.
The exact cause of the Eaton fire still under investigation. The Biden administration says a Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal between Israel and Hamas is getting closer as brokered talks progress. Confirmation hearings set to begin this week for President-elect Trump's key cabinet posts. And Starbucks says it's reversing its hangout policy. The new chain policy will require a person to purchase something in order to stay or use the restrooms. The company says it's working to make its stores more welcoming, that after a drop-off in customers and sales. This is ABC News.
Check Up on Health, presented by Olympic Medical Center.
Check Up on Health with Chris Whitting.
Italians don't have heart attacks. Italian Americans do. Japanese don't have heart attacks. Japanese Americans do. Now, either our genes changed when we crossed the water or something else changed.
Joe Piscatella underwent emergency bypass surgery at age 32 and has spent 4 decades since then coaching others on healthy lifestyle choices. He says attitude can make all the difference after bypass surgery.
The mental aspect is what keeps you doing what you know to be the right thing for your health. It's not the falling down that is the disaster. It's not getting up. That's the failure. When you get up, you can fall down as many times as you need to, but it's continuing to get up. And that all starts in your mind with a positive mindset. To center your mind, have a positive mind, and it translates into actions that benefit your heart every single day.
With Checkup on Health, I'm Chris Whitting.
Does your Happy New Year come with happy news of a baby on the way? At Olympic Medical Center, our labor and delivery team gives moms a birth experience they'll cherish. Choose from experienced obstetricians or certified nurse midwives to tailor your birthing experience to you and your baby. Labor and delivery at OMC, a delivery designed with you. Learn more at olympicmedical.org/baby.
Klahani Gymnastics is so much more than mats, bars, and balance beams. It's a place for building strength and confidence in our kids. It's promoting self-esteem and key building blocks for a healthy lifestyle. And of course, fitness is always fun at Klahani. Get the favorite child in your life a gift certificate for tuition and call to check on our schedule for upcoming classes. 360-457-5187. Klahani Gymnastics on Acorn Lane in Port Angeles, making fitness fun since 2009.
At the Lodge at Sherwood Village in Sequim, you can enjoy the freedom of month-to-month rent in an upscale retirement community. The Lodge offers both cottages and apartments, and you'll be able to choose your new home based on your specific needs. The cottages offer a more independent living style, with our apartments offering additional services, with 3 daily meals, weekly housekeeping, and transportation, among other services. Call us and schedule your tour today at the Lodge at Sherwood Village, 681-3100.
Bring your kids to the Next Door Gastropub.
We already know that adults have been loving Next Door Gastropub for over 13 years, but the kids love it too.
My favorite thing is the cheeseburger and fries. My favorite thing is grilled cheese and fries. But everything is good.
You'll feel the good vibes the moment you walk in, and your mouth will do a happy dance from the very first bite you take, because
we got the best beef in town.
Bring your kids down to the Next Door Gastropub in downtown Port Angeles.
We're open every day at 11, and we close at 10.
KONP News brought to you by McCrory Carpet One. Always priced right, always done right. It's McCrory Carpet One. Sequim City Council member Kathy Downer retiring after this week's meeting, ending her term early. 72-year-old Downer, who joined the council in 2022, cited a desire to spend more time with her grandchild and pursue other interests. The retired nurse's term was originally set to run through 2027. The council is expected to begin the process of filling her seat through applications and public interviews. If no decisions made within 90 days, Clallam County commissioners could step in to appoint a replacement. And La Nina conditions are officially here. Forecasters say the rest of the winter should be a bit colder and wetter here in western Washington.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by All Weather Heating and Cooling. Daytime highs approaching 46 this afternoon under overcast skies, northeasterly winds around 5 miles per hour. Cloudy skies expected again tonight, lows level off around 36. High temperatures reach up to 45 tomorrow. Cloudy skies expected. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times and dry. Wednesday and Thursday, upper 40s. Wednesday, mid 40s by Thursday. Taking a look at the extended forecast, 42 Friday, 41 Saturday, and 41 on Sunday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 45 degrees.
From the Ramsey Network, it's The Ramsey Show. I'm Jade Warshaw. Next to me, my good buddy, Dr. John Deloney.
What up?
We're taking your calls all hour long. Your life, your money, your relationships, your career, all of it. We'll talk about it. The call is a free call. 888-825-5225 is what gets you on. Remember, this is a live show, and we want to hear from you. All right, John, let's go straight to the phone lines. We got Nicholas, Boston, Massachusetts. What's going on, Nick?
How are you?
Doing good. How can we help?
I just wanted to, first I appreciate you guys, putting me on, but I wanted to just kind of, put my situation out there. In 2020, I'm a small business owner. In 2020, we had a great year. We're a fence installation company. We were doing really, really great around the time 2020 into 2021. At that time, my wife had an affair. I was working probably 50 to 60 hours a week just because I had to keep up with the demand for the business at the time. After that, that hit me mentally, and going into a divorce process, it killed me financially, and I've just not been able to recover. It's just been a tough few years. The business, since that peak, it was kind of like almost like a peak in 2020 into 2021 with the work. The business slowed down after. I don't know if it's partially due to the economy or just my state in general of pushing forward, lack of funds for the business, and so on. But just been a struggle since that time. So,
Man, sorry, brother.
No, it's all right. And with pre-divorce around 2020, I had 6 figures in the bank. I only had my mortgage, which is $1,400, which in Massachusetts is you can't even rent for $1,400. There's just nothing for the mortgage is nothing. At the time it was $1,250, but during the divorce I had to refinance, so it went up to almost $1,500. But I just all my money got drained. She spent $72,000 in 2020, the year of the divorce. She just kind of drained the accounts and left me with that. And then the tax liability, I'm in huge tax troubles. I owe 6 figures to the government, and then $30,000 to the state, and I'm just kind of lost.
Well, you and me and Jade could talk for a long, long time, and Jades can walk you through the numbers part because there's a mathematical path out of this.
Yeah.
But in the first 2 minutes we've talked, you've mentioned 2020. I've lost count.
Yeah.
And what that tells me is you're living in the past.
Yeah.
And you've got one, if not both feet still in 2020, 2021, even 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that's hurt. Some of that is you probably got a lot of esteem out of making that kind of money and having that kind of false security in a bank account that you somehow that translated into what you were worth.
Yeah.
Not just financially, but emotionally, spiritually, relationally.
Yeah.
And it's 2025.
Yeah.
And so you won't get one step of healing moving forward until you decide to not mention your ex-wife again. She's gone, man.
Yeah.
Till you stop blaming her for your current tax liabilities.
Mm-hmm.
Until you say, okay, I'm going to stand up in 2025. I'm clearly good at what I do. I've been successful in the past. I will be successful again in the future. And I've got a mess I got to clean up.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
No, definitely. And there's a whole nother part of this, which is like I'm trying to push through. I got 2 young children, 5 and 6 years old, and I'm with them 60% of the time, paying the $400 a week in support. It's just kind of, it is what it is. I don't have an issue with the support. I don't have an issue with the support or nothing like that. It's just I feel like I'm pushing myself further into debt because I'm trying to give them everything they need. So my personal credit cards, along with the business, I mean everything's just it's.
Hold on, you're not trying to give them everything they
need.
need. You're trying to give them everything so that you don't feel so bad.
Yeah.
Because what they really want is their old man.
Yeah.
And going out this weekend in Boston and throwing snow at each other and digging a hole and playing in the mud costs $0, and they'll tell that story at your funeral.
Yeah.
So again, don't blame them for your debt problems.
Yeah.
It sucks. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You got taken to the cleaners in court. You did. And now it's 2025.
Yeah.
So my question to you is like direct, and this is just me just talking to a man that I love, okay? Is 2025 going to be the year that you say, enough, I'm going to look in the mirror, and I'm going to take ownership of this stuff and get it knocked out?
Yeah.
Is this the year? Because if not, then we can take another call.
Yeah, because can I ask a fair question? I think it's fair. Did you get taken to the cleaners, or was it just divided 50-50, and it just got split?
No. I got destroyed.
How? Why?
Yeah.
How and why?
It's just my lawyer, the representation during it, there was just a lot of things that just did not go my way, and I was not in a mental state so at some point after them just coming at me with demands, I just wanted it done with. So I said, all right, that's it. I agree on this, and let's move forward. So
tell me, I'm going to be honest with you, flat out. I think this call is more about what's happening inside of you than what's happening with your money. Just from the way you sound like you are just a chicken with its head cut off. And like John said, we can talk for a long time. If you want to give me some real numbers and we can walk through this financially, tell me now what you're earning. And is it from your business, or did you get a new job?
No, I'm still running the business.
Okay.
Do you want to hear my personals, or do you want to hear the business?
I just want to know your payment. Like, what do you pay yourself every month? What do you bring home every month?
Yeah, so I mean, weekly. My weekly check is like $1,200 a week. So.
Okay, and that's like clockwork.
Yep. But then you gotta, right now is our slow season, so there's going to be a couple weeks where I'm not taking a check, and then you have to subtract in, $387 in support. And that's
I just want to know your money. I want to know what does Nick bring home? Does he bring home $4,800 a month? Is that right?
Yeah,
okay.
$1,198 a week. Yep.
Okay, and then tell me your total debt.
Personal or with the business included?
It's all the same, but tell me personal first, just for the purposes of this call.
Yep. So I got the vehicle, the home, and about $8,000 in credit card debt. So.
Okay. So credit cards are $8,000. How much on the car?
$20,000 owed.
Okay. And the house?
$200,000.
And you told me you're paying $1,500 a month now. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a little under that. It's like $1,400 and change.
Okay, fine. So the car, what's the car worth? It's $20,000. What's it worth?
It's worth. Last time I checked, it was worth 14.
Okay.
So.
Now, with your line of work, is it I can do more work and make more money? Is it just as simple as that? What's stopping you from doing more?
Yeah, so the work's always been there. I never paid for advertising with the work. We've always been very busy.
Mm-hmm.
Last year was very slow. I put $14,000 over the year into a marketing agency, and just it was a well-known.
Well, here's the thing. Let me give you the quick equation. The way that you get out of debt quickly is you increase your income and decrease your expenses. That is the simple solution to getting more money to throw it at your debt. And that's all it is. Listen, you've got two debts. You owe $28,000. I know that you lost a lot of money in this process, but the truth is right now, your debt isn't all that scary. If you called in here telling me you had $500,000, and maybe with the business it is that much, but let's focus on that, quote, personal debt first, use the debt snowball and pay it off, and then you can call in again and let's talk about this business and if it's worth keeping. This is The Ramsey Show.
It's a new year, the slate is clean, and you've got your list of goals for 2025, but I'm pretty sure there's something you left off, your will. I've been telling you for years that making your will is a top priority, so don't put it on your to-do list, just do it. Now, go to mamabearlegalforms.com and use the promo code RAMSEY to save an additional 20%. That's promo code RAMSEY at mamabearlegalforms.com.
What's up, guys? It's Jade Warshaw. All right, picture this. It's the end of 2025, and I know this year has barely started, but just hang with me for a second. I want you to imagine looking back and seeing how much you've actually transformed your money situation. Every bill was paid on time, overspending is a thing of the past, and you've got savings stacked up. Whenever something popped up, you were ready and you handled it. And money stress? You ain't got it. You're breathing easy now. Can you see that? Okay, here's the thing. You can have it, but you're going to need a plan. And that's where the Every Dollar Budget app comes in. Every Dollar will help you create a customized plan for every single dollar that you've got coming in and going out. The app is super simple to use too, and guess what? It's free. Look, imagining things will be different is one thing, but putting in the work, that's how real transformation happens. So go download the Every Dollar app today and let's do this. Remember, download the Every Dollar app today.
Because there's no such thing as a crystal ball, more than 40,000 businesses future-proof themselves with NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite consolidates your systems into one platform, and their real-time forecasting helps you see into the future with actionable data, so you can spend more time focusing on what's next. And right now, you can download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/Ramsey. It's free at netsuite.com/Ramsey.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jade. So let's be real. Are you good with the way your money is right now? If the answer is absolutely not, I know where you're at. I had $500,000 in debt, guys. I was about to come unglued. But I'm proof that you can change your story. And don't come at me with this, oh, but Jade, I can't do it nonsense. I want you to make progress, not excuses. So if you want to see some real progress with your money, go start Financial Peace University. The principles we teach in this 9-week course changed my life. You're going to learn how to get out of debt, how to build wealth, and when you do what we teach, in just 90 days, you will feel so much better about your money. And I know, because the average FPU grad has an $8,000 turnaround in those 90 days. $8,000? Come on, somebody. Y'all better get this money. It's time to get moving. Don't live with money stress anymore. Start FPU today at RamseySolutions.com/FPU. That's RamseySolutions.com/FPU.
Folks, are you not very excited when you drive to work on Monday morning? Do you feel like you're stuck in the daily grind, just going through the motions without doing work you're truly passionate about? Well, you're not alone. Nearly 70% of Americans are not engaged in their jobs, and I've been there too. I know how frustrating that can be, but you don't have to be one of the 70% anymore. I'm Ken Coleman, an author, speaker, and radio show host at Ramsey Solutions. And if you want to find a job you love, then my book, The Proximity Principle, can help. This book will give you a simple, proven strategy for getting in the right places and around the right people who will connect you to the work you're meant to do. You'll learn how to network the right way, build relationships with experts and mentors, find organizations that will help you grow, and more. This strategy has worked for me, and it's worked for thousands of people who've called into my show. Now it's time for you to take the next step toward work you love. Visit RamseySolutions.com/store today to get your copy of the Proximity Principle. That's RamseySolutions.com/store.
You're listening to The Ramsey Show. I'm Jade Warshaw. Dr. John Deloney sits beside me today. Hey, if you're ready to get your finances in order once and for all in 2025, I've got just the thing for you. Hey, we're doing this free live stream. It's January 23rd. It's Take Control of Your Money. So if you're a person who's been living paycheck to paycheck, if you're a person who's constantly overdrawn, if you're a person who feels like they just can't seem to get ahead no matter what, right? 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards. This is for you. It's going to be myself and Dave Ramsey. We're going to take the stage. I'm going to show you how to stop living paycheck to paycheck. I'm going to show you how to make your budget in real time, right? So you have more breathing room so you can pay off debt fast and finally really just get ahead with your money. That's what all of us want, right? Later on in the evening, Rachel Cruz and George Camel are also going to join us. We're going to do a Q&A. This is about everything, not just your budget. We'll answer questions about real estate. We'll answer questions about investing. This is your time, okay? If you ever had questions, if you were ever trying to wonder how to get unstuck, this is for you, okay? So not only that, but we're also giving away money because nothing helps more than just to have a little extra cash in your pocket. So when you sign up, you're going to be entered to win one of our cash giveaways, and we're going to be giving away $4,000 to 5 different people. I don't know about you, John, but $4,000, that's a little bag, all right?
I'll take it.
I'll take it too. So if you want to get involved, sign up for the free live stream. You can do that by going to RamseySolutions.com/live stream. You can click the link in the description if you're listening on podcast or YouTube. I want to see you there. I don't want to hear any more excuses. You need to be on this live stream.
And few things in the world do I love more than taking Dave Ramsey's money.
Yeah.
Like, man, if I can get $4,000.
Come on now.
I'm going to get $4,000.
Yeah. If nothing else, just sign up for that, okay? I'll see you there.
Money.
Yeah, get that money. I'll see you there. Remember, it's 7 p.m. Central Time, so do the math and you figure out the time zones. All right, Roger's in Kansas City, Missouri. What's up, Roger?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can. What's up?
Thank you for taking my call. I just so last year our son had some really bad asthma, and then he underwent a procedure that ended him in the ICU for 3 weeks. He was in the ventilator, and he wasn't breathing on his own. Yeah, he was heavily medicated.
How's he doing now?
And he's doing a lot better now. Thank God. He's
awesome.
He's a lot better. Yeah. And during that 3 weeks, almost a month, I wasn't working, and we had some credit cards, so we kind of just started putting everything on those credit cards, and we kind of accumulated quite a bit of debt because of that situation that we had going on.
How much?
We did. It's about like $11,000 plus some student loans that I recently got because I recently went back to school.
Okay. How much was the student loans, and how much was the medical debt?
The medical debt was actually covered by insurance.
Okay.
I was gonna say, there's no way you got up for $12,000 for a month in ICU.
I mean, were you on the hook for the deductible?
No, I think his insurance actually covered everything.
Everything. Okay.
It's just that the personal, like our bills and like our food. We had two other daughters that we didn't see for those 3 weeks.
Okay. So the debt you racked up was just, we've got a son in the hospital, we need childcare, we need food, we need somebody help clean it, like that kind of stuff. It wasn't the actual medical bills.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said about $11,000?
Bills. Yeah, about $12,000, and I just can't seem to get out of it. Like, it just keeps seeing like minimum payments and minimum payments. Okay. I'm just trying to see what we can do to make sure that gets out the way, or we just get it out the way quicker.
Can I ask a question? And I'm not trying to take you to task. I'm just trying to understand. Did you say it was 3 weeks in the hospital?
Yes.
And
3 weeks that he was asleep.
Okay, that he was asleep. Got you. And $11,000 in just meals and childcare.
Well, credit card debt, like bills and stuff like that. We still had to cover our bills, so we just ended up just putting it on credit cards.
Okay, got it. And is that what you would typically spend in a month? $11,000, or how far off your normal budget is that?
It's a little extra because there was already some balance on those cards.
Okay.
So we kind of just did it over the edge,
Got it. And you said there's some student loans too. How much is that?
Those are new. Those are I'd say 30.
Okay.
30,000.
And you're continuing
total.
to take those out, or have you said no more?
No, well, it was on. Everything's already paid. It was like a course. It was already paid for, so I don't owe anything above that.
Okay. So we've got 41,000 in debt. And can you tell me a little bit more about you guys' income?
Yeah, I'm the only one that works. My wife stays at home with the kids. I bring in about 57. That's what I brought in last year.
Okay. Can you tell me what that sounds like every month? Like, what's your paycheck every single month, or total every month?
About 4,000.
Okay. Okay. So what sounds like here is you guys had a crisis. You had something really scary happen, and I don't know, John, I want to say it's kind of normal that sometimes we go into that mode where it's like whatever you have, it's almost like you have bigger fish to fry, so you're not thinking about every time you swipe the card, right? You're just trying to be there. Who cares? Yeah, order the food. Who cares? Get the sitter, right? And so it sounds like you went overboard a little bit, but I'm thinking that most of that debt was already there, based on what you were saying the money was for. And then you turn around and you did $30,000 in student loans. So did the $30,000 in student loans, how does that ROI for you? What did it do for you? Because you said you took a course.
Yeah, that's recent. It's on us now. I've only been in school for 4 months.
Right. But
That's so recently.
I'm saying, is that to get you, what was the purpose of that? Is it to get your income up? Tell me more about where that's going to lead you to.
Oh, yeah. It was to get a course to start working in. It's for IT cybersecurity career.
Okay. And when do you start that?
Hopefully that'll in April.
Okay. And what will you be making when you get to that?
They said anywhere between 60 to 80 starting.
Nice.
And then it just goes up.
Hold on. Do you have an actual job, or is that what the whoever you bought this $30,000 course for, by the way, which you probably could have taken for $850 at a local community college? Are they the ones telling you that starting salary start at 65 to 80 grand, or do you have a job in hand?
That's kind of what they're guessing.
Bro town dude, you can't listen to what they're saying, man. They're just selling you a marketing message. You got to get on the horn and try to get jobs.
Right.
What they're doing is taking an aggregate of potential those who did get a job, which doesn't count any of the people who didn't get jobs with the certificate. This is an approximate of what some of those people have made. That's not what your salary is.
And that's kind of what the job listings. That's what they're saying.
Okay.
For the field, for the IT field.
Can I run it back a little bit more, because we don't have a whole lot of time on this call, and I want to give you something to think about when you leave here. Do you want to know what this is one woman's opinion. I think that the deal happened with your son and it scared you, but I don't think that's what's responsible for this financial situation. I think most of what was on your credit cards was there already. And yeah, you may have added a little bit to it, but I think that was mostly there. I also think that these student loans are what's really eating your lunch right now. And so coming off of one crisis with your son and then feeling the crisis of this financial situation, I think is what's got you in a tizzy. But truly, I don't think one has too much to do with the other. The key here is the $4,000. You mentioned your wife's home with the kids. Is there any way that she can pick up some part-time work as well? Because I think that you've got to get a second job because of this course. If you got this course, now it's okay, I have to make this thing worth it. And I have to figure out when do I say that it's going to ROI and when do I say it's going to pay itself off, right? And you can't be waiting around for 2-3 years to pay this thing back. You've got to get on, like John said, get on the horn now and get this thing paid off and truly cut up the credit cards. So before you get off the line, Christian's going to pick up over there and we're going to get you every dollar. We're going to let you try out the premium version for a while, because in order to do this, you're going to have to know where every single dollar is going. Now's not the time to be playing, pity patty and patty cake with your dollars. You got to know where everything's going, because on a $4,000 monthly income, you're going to have to be very intentional to get this paid off quickly. But we're going to help you do it. This is The Ramsey Show.
Mortgage rates have dropped, so if you're thinking about buying a home in the next year, contact your local Churchill mortgage team now, before more people are competing for the same houses. Churchill will help you do the math to be sure your budget is correct, making your home a blessing. Learn more at churchillmortgage.com.
This is a paid advertisement. NMLS ID 1591. NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Equal housing lender. 1749 Mallory Lane, Suite 100. Brentwood, Tennessee 37027.
Does having more money and less stress sound nice, but feel impossible? Well, in my brand new book, Breaking Free from Broke, I share my story of going from broke to millionaire and exactly how I did it. You'll learn about the money traps and cultural lies out there designed to keep you brainwashed and stressed out, from credit card schemes to mortgage myths to investing traps. So if you're not where you want to be financially, I can help you finally get ahead. You can get Breaking Free from Broke today at RamseySolutions.com/store. That's RamseySolutions.com/store.
At Olympic Peninsula Title, we wear a lot of different hats. We are investigators, analysts, and the protectors of property rights. We seek a high standard of accuracy. Our commitment to exceptional service strengthens our mission. We reduce risk. We stay on top of current issues affecting property rights. We sweat the small stuff to give our customers the peace of mind they deserve. When it's time to choose a title company to close your transaction, opt for Olympic Peninsula Title.
For some people, their cars are their most prized possessions. Show you care with a gift certificate for high-quality Shell gas and car washes from First Race Car Wash. Gift certificates start at $5 and are great as a thank you, a congratulations, and fit great in birthday cards too. First Race Car Wash on the corner of First and Race, Port Angeles. You're a winner every time when you've got that First Race shine.
It's a new year, and Tri-State will be a new neighbor. Need a new roof or other exterior project? Tri-State is there for you every step of the way. Hundreds of five-star reviews from very happy clients. Go to tristate.pro or call, and we'll be out tomorrow. Start off the new year with an affordable new roof. 0 down, 0 interest, or payments for 18-month OAC.
Tri-State Roofing, we got you covered.
KONP 1450 AM 101.7 and 101.3 FM, the Straight 102.1 FM, and Z104.9 FM, all part of Radio Pacific Incorporated, perform occasional contests over the air. Washington residents of Clallam and Jefferson counties are eligible to participate and may only win once every 60 days. Contest winners are responsible for all applicable local, state, and federal taxes. For complete station contest rules, visit our website at myclallamcounty.com.
The electric stove, the refrigerator, the vacuum, all advances in technology that had a profound impact on society. But the creation of one specific device brought the world together. And you're listening to it. With the invention of the radio, advertisers soon realized the power of marketing to a mass audience, and one advertiser took advantage of radio's true strength. On Christmas Eve, 1926, the first radio jingle was broadcast, and soon, the struggling Washburn-Crosby Company and their little cereal became the most popular brand in America. Since then, advertisers have used jingles and radio to stay at the top of your mind. And you have the chance to do the same. Make that lasting connection with your future customers. Call 457-1450 to find out how affordable radio really is and how easy it is to be a part of it. Radio Pacific, a multi-station radio network.
If you like sitting around the porch or dinner table sharing stories with friends, that's what we like to do here at Our American Stories. I'm Lee Habib. We bring to you stories about American love, funny stories about first jobs, this day in history, American dreamers and marriages, and even the stories of music and acting legends. I invite you to sit around the porch with us as we share Our American Stories.
Weekdays from 8 to 10 p.m. and Sunday afternoons from 1 to 3.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Santa Ana winds are back in Los Angeles County with red flag warnings posted. Crews are still battling last week's wildfires, now blamed for at least 24 deaths. L.A. District Attorney Nathan Hochman announcing charges against a group of people he said arrested for looting and other crimes.
These are the people who are seeking to exploit this tragedy for their own benefit. These are people who have engaged in looting arson.
A dusk to dawn curfew remains in effect. Preparations are underway for next week's inauguration of President-elect Trump. Authorities say there is heightened threat environment, but no credible threats. A Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal could be closer than ever between Israel and Hamas. The Biden administration says talks are progressing. In South Africa, at least 100 men mining illegally in an abandoned gold mine have died of suspected starvation and dehydration. The men were trapped deep underground for months. This is ABC News.
Here's your Newsradio KONP forecast brought to you by All Weather Heating and Cooling. Cloudy skies expected this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 46. Northeasterly winds around 5 miles per hour. Cloudy skies again tonight, lows level off around 36. Highs around 45. Tomorrow, cloudy. I'm staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 46 degrees.
You're listening to The Ramsey Show. It's me, Jade Warshaw, next to my good buddy, Dr. John Deloney, host of the Dr. John Deloney Show, taking your calls all hour long. Remember, it's a live show, so if you want to get on, the number is 888-825-5225. We'll get you on. We'll talk about your life, your money. Listen, we can talk about anything you want to talk about as long as it relates. So
I got an opinion on lots of stuff.
Tell me one. Give me a hot take right on the spot. Come on, John. You can do this.
The hottest take of 2025 thus far. I got two of them. One with that last call, and we can get into that if you want to.
Let's get in.
I'm going to get myself canceled. But the second hot take of 2025, I love bearded James Childs.
I was going to say a James Childs hot take. I was going to say, give me a James Childs without a hat. Come on. It's like a new man. It's a different man.
He has been a hat wearer and like super every day he shaves. And now he's like, his band Coda Glow is crushing. And he's just like, I'm going to own the rugged, like.
He stepped out from behind, you know. He's like the guy that sits in the back. He stepped out and said, here I am.
Yeah. How do you
Look at
like
me.
this world?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so that's hot take. That's hot take number two. Hot take number one is,
my guy Nicholas.
Yeah, the last caller. So this is an unpopular thought. That particular guy, his kid had an asthma attack.
Yes.
Really got sick.
Super scary. Yeah.
Very, very scary situation. He's the only breadwinner. His wife stays at home with kids.
Mhm.
Kid goes to ICU for 3 weeks.
Yes.
He doesn't go back to work. He stays in the hospital for 3 weeks with his wife, and they've got 2 little kids, and they racked up $1 jillion in credit card debt, theoretically.
Theoretically.
And then while he was there, it sounded like he decided to sign up for a $30,000 cybersecurity course, right?
Mm-hmm.
My hot take is being able to knock off 3 weeks of work with no income,
Yeah.
no way to pay your bills, and it is, in many ways, it's 2 different choices. One, I'm always going to be with my kid no matter what, end of story, end of time.
Mm-hmm.
I get that, and my 2 kids are my entire world. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, you are making a choice to set your house up for the next however many years with electricity and angst and misery because you just start swiping that credit card on everything. And then you decide, well, I'm just going to get I need to get another job, so I'm going to trust the back of a brochure for some for-profit certificate program that I found online that's got fly-by-night nonsense. So my hot take is math doesn't care about your situation.
Man, what?
And so this is one of those reasons why we preach so much. Don't owe anybody any money. Drive a crappy Corolla. Work 2 jobs to get out of debt. Not if, but when one of your kids gets sick, one of your relatives passes away. I wrote about in the book, like, the greatest blessing following the Ramsey plan has been for me and my wife, besides just the peace in our house, was 2 years ago when one of my favorite people on the planet, one of my cousins, just suddenly died. I didn't have to look. I booked a hotel. I didn't have to sleep under an aunt's kitchen table, right, on a pallet of some sort. And we got plane tickets, and we went down, and we got the privilege of just being sad. Math doesn't care. And so if you are the main breadwinner, somebody's got to keep working, right? And that's one of those awful, like Sophie's Choice kind of responsibilities, I think, especially falls on dads when you're the breadwinner. It comes those moments when, okay, mom's going to sit in the hospital, and right when work's over, you're coming there, you're going to spend the night there, you're going to sleep there, and you're going to get up at 5:30 in the morning, you're going to get up and you're going to go back to work because somebody's got to keep the lights on at the house for the other kids and for that family. And so I know we live in a world where we are yanked around by how our kids feel and how we feel about our kids. I want this kind of special dog. All right, we'll get more dogs. I want to play these sports. We're going to play those sports. I got on the travel team. We're going to go over. And I think that letting our kids be the center of our universes, our kids can't carry that weight. They can't carry it. And our houses are falling apart around that worship of our kids. Somebody's got to keep the lights on.
That's a really good point. And it is a hot take because the truth is when somebody starts talking about their kids, somebody in the hospital, it's like, okay, free pass. Right? We automatically kind of want to slide.
Count, yeah. Bills don't count.
Yeah.
The world doesn't count.
But what I hope is, and Nicholas, if you're still listening, we're not picking on you. What I hope is that you take away from this. This is what we would call around here an I've had it moment.
Yes.
It should be. And it's what I'd call an I've had it moment because the truth is, and I'll try to talk about it from a personal point of view so it doesn't sound like we're harping on you because we're not trying to paint you into a bad guy, but we want this to be a moment where you pivot and change. If you say, the problem was my kid got sick and went to the hospital. If we say the problem was, let's take it down on a lower level. The problem was I lost my job and now here we are. The problem was my husband overdrew the checking account and now here we are. Those are just symptoms. Those are not the real problem. And this is why we teach what we teach. The real problem is the wind blew and I had a house made of straw. That's the real problem. Right? And so if we can get above it and go, all right, I don't want to be in this situation ever again, that's when real change can happen. I remember this was years ago. Sam and I were paying off, in the midst of paying off our debt, we had $460 to pay off. And I remember we were still trying to figure out budgeting, and we had no money. And so my sister ended up having a medical emergency in Orlando. Orlando's like 2.5 hours from where I lived. She was in the hospital. And I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to go see her. I had no money, no extra gas money. Because when your budget is like tight to the wire, no extra gas money, nothing. And I remember being like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to call my parents and ask them for money because I'm not putting it on a credit card. I'm not doing any of this. And that was such a, oh my gosh, A, swallow my pride moment. B, am I going to make the choice that's going to drive us further into debt? And C, also, I never want to be in this situation ever again. So what do I have to fix? I can't blame it on my sister. Be like, man, she was in debt, and it was because that happened. I have to go, what part am I playing in this? And yes, sucky stuff happens, and it comes out of the blue, and it's painful. But if I don't look at where I set myself up and what I did, does that make sense?
I remember being a dean of students, and I got real sick. I remember throwing up blood.
Ooh.
And I remember I don't even have enough room on a credit card to go to the ER. And I had to call my buddy Todd and say, I think I got to go to the emergency room. Can I borrow your credit card? And without even blinking, he said, I got you. Do you need me to drive you? And I said, give me another hour. And I ended up feeling a little bit better. But in that moment of being real sick, I remember never again. Well, and here's how I thought about it. I'll never put a friend in that position again.
Yeah.
That a buddy's going to call my, that I've taken so little care of my household that this is the situation I'm in. Because I can't control spending, or I want to go out on the weekends, or me and my wife deserve to go out to eat.
But if you had walked away from that and said, okay, it got taken care of.
That's right.
Somehow it always comes together.
Or I just showed up at the ER and we'll pay the bills later.
Right. Which it's so easy for us to do. Well, it worked out.
Yeah.
I guess everything's fine. And then you just go back about life as it was. You've got to use these as the catalysts that they are to really change and dial in.
Right.
So,
and as we look at the systems that we are all accustomed to, we're starting to see the cracks. They're not always just going to work out.
That's right.
They're not always just going to work out. And I'm convinced beyond a shadow of a doubt that these big systemic cracks, like it's not just going to work out. It's not going to get fixed at the system level. It's going to get fixed with people in their household say, as for me and my house, no more. I never want to call my mom again and say, can I borrow gas to go see my sister? I never want to call my buddy and say, can I borrow your credit card? I don't even have enough room on a bank won't even loan me the money to go to the ER, much less have it in my checking account, right? I have to be done with this.
Do you want to know what really got me? One time, this was long before I worked here. This was during 2008, so it was the Great Recession. Everybody's calling into the show talking to Dave about, I'm losing my house, da-da-da-da. Dave is sitting here going, well, I've purchased more real estate than I've ever purchased. And he said, you want to get to the point that when there's a storm, you can fly above it.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting in my car with my $400 and something thousand of debt, being so jealous, but also so like,
convicted.
Yes, Dave, like that. The next time it pours, the next time it rains, the next time the fire comes, my house is going to be prepared. And do you want to know when the next time it happened? 2020. And do you want to know what? We were ready. Folk were prepared. And that's what I'm saying, guys. It will storm. It will rain. This is your chance. This is your call. Be prepared.
Statistics show that half of Americans don't have enough life insurance, or they don't have any at all. I don't understand this, John. Why don't people want to take care of their family? They think they're going to die or something?
Well, I used to be one of those guys, I didn't even think about it, and one of my buddies said, hey, the only reason to not have life insurance is if you hate your wife and kids. And I immediately went and got term life insurance.
That's a gut punch.
For decades, Dave, I've sat across people who've lost a spouse. They've lost somebody important to them.
Me too.
They don't know what to do next.
You're going to have a crisis here. You know, you got two options while you're sitting and talking to a young widow. She's concerned about how she's going to invest all this money properly and not mess this up, or she's concerned how she's going to eat tomorrow.
That's exactly
These are the two options. It's saying I love you to your family. Term life insurance. Jeff Zander and the team at Zander Insurance makes it easy and affordable. I've used them personally for 25 years. They're the only people I trust. Go to Zander.com or call 800-356-4282.
Now is the time to get the proven plan millions have used to get control of their money with Dave Ramsey's national best-selling books, The Total Money Makeover and Baby Steps Millionaires. You'll learn the 7 baby steps to crush debt and save in The Total Money Makeover. And when you're ready to invest and build wealth, dive into Baby Steps Millionaires. This is your proven and surefire plan to build a legacy. Go to RamseySolutions.com/store to order your books today. RamseySolutions.com/store.
When you're overwhelmed by money, it consumes everything in your life. All day long, you ask questions like, will that check clear? Do I have enough to get to payday? Can I really afford that car repair? Well, no more. You should not have to live with that kind of stress, and you don't have to. When you follow a proven plan, you'll discover peace with your money you never thought possible. And you can start on that plan today with Financial Peace University. This course has helped almost 10 million people learn how to budget, save and spend wisely, get rid of debt, and build real wealth. And you can too. Start watching the course online right away or join a Financial Peace University class for community and support. Decide today that you're done letting money stress rule your life. Get started at RamseySolutions.com/FPU. You can do this. You got it. That's RamseySolutions.com/FPU.
Hey guys, George Camel here. Listen, if you think student loans and credit cards and credit scores are meant to help you get ahead, you're what's known as wrong. That's because those things are just tools that the toxic money system uses to keep you broke and stressed out. And I should know, because I fell for all the money traps and lies out there, and it left me with anxiety and frustration and stress. I basically got punked without the Ashton Kutcher cameo. But I've got good news for you. No matter where you're starting from, you too can buck the system and build wealth, just like I did. Get this, I went from broke to millionaire in a decade. And in my new book, Breaking Free from Broke, I'll teach you exactly how I did it. You're going to learn how to have more money and less stress, even in this economy, and regardless of who's in the White House. You're going to learn everything from credit card schemes to mortgage myths to investing traps, and I'll show you how to break free from that toxic system and finally have more margin, more options, and more joy. You can get the new book, Breaking Free from Broke, today at RamseySolutions.com/store. That's RamseySolutions.com/store.
You're listening to The Ramsey Show. I'm Jade Warshaw. Next to me is Dr. John Deloney. Happy to be with you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. And if you are a listener, I always say this, but keep listening, keep sharing it, keep liking it, keep subscribing. That's super important for us. We're happy that you do that. Also, the Ramsey Show annual listener survey is live. What that means is you finally get to tell us all the things that have been burning inside of you about the show. We want to know your favorite parts of the show. We want to know what you like, what you don't, what you want to hear more of. But whatever it is, we just want to hear it. So let it rip, as they say. There's 2 ways to participate. You can text survey to the number 33789, or you can visit ramseysolutions.com/survey. If you're listening on podcast or YouTube, you can click the link in the description. So yeah, let us know. I'm curious. Somebody's going to say something about...
Man, sometimes on these surveys, people will be drinking the haterade, but it's all right. It's all right.
They're going to be like, never wear those glasses. That wig was weird. All right. Sign up today to be entered to win a $500 gift card.
John Deloney, never talk again.